If you're an online entrepreneur, then this video is going to be a game changer. I'm going to show you how this one online entrepreneur was able to sign multiple high-ticket clients and it felt like it was overnight without changing a single thing in his business. And if you're currently stuck or you're not seeing the results that you want, you are hitting the plateau and you are making the same amount of money every single month, then I'm going to essentially show you how you can get out of that situation without changing a single strategy or a tactic in your business. So without further ado, let's just dive right into the video. So this one entrepreneur is actually one of my clients, and when he came to me for the first time, he was essentially struggling. He was seeing a lot of inconsistency in his business, and he was working hard. Don't get me wrong, like he was putting a lot of hours, a lot of effort every single day. He was doing a lot of things to actually have that consistency, and he was making around 5K per month, and he wanted to get to the next level. But for some reason, even though he was trying every single new strategy, every single tactic that could help him to, like, for example, a sales strategy that could help him increase his closing rate, or even an outreach method that would allow him to book more meetings, or an ad that would get him more traffic. No matter what he tried, nothing was really working. So he was constantly testing new things to see where he made mistakes. And also he was planning a lot to make sure that he has a good strategy in place. So maybe that's also you as an entrepreneur, and this is me as well a couple of years ago, and sometimes even to this day, because sometimes we get lost in planning, strategizing, and trying different things, and then we wonder why are we stuck in the first place. And this client was working 12 to 14 hours every single day, but he was seeing little to zero progress. And also he was in this grind mentality where all he saw was his business, and he was hustling every single day, 7 days a week. And yeah, he was just not making the progress that he wanted. And after I helped him, I'm going to explain exactly what I did to help him and exactly what we did to achieve the results I'm going to show you. Then this essentially is what happened. He was able to close multiple high ticket clients, and it felt like overnight because it was very quick. As you can see right here, this is him, Christians, and he is a very good coach, online coach out there. And essentially, as you can see, he was winning and winning and winning. When we had this conversation at the first week when we started to work together, I was asking him questions. So what do you think is really happening? Like, why do you think you cannot get to the next level? Why you cannot get that momentum, that consistency, and see results? Which means for online coaches and online entrepreneurs, meetings, clients, and results for those clients, right? So I was asking him, like, questioning, like, why do you think that is? And where a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong, and I did as well, is that a lot of us think that we still need to fix the business. Like, also, he was in this mentality that he needs to add a new strategy, he needs to change this, he needs to change that. And I used to be that as well. Like, I thought I have to try a different niche, try a different business model because this is not working, or all of these things, or that I have to work harder. Like, he had that mentality as well, that maybe I just need to work more and I need to do a lot more things and I have to work harder, because that's the mentality and that's the thinking and the mindset of most of the entrepreneurs these days. So this is what he thought is the gap between where he was and where he wanted to be. But the thing is that it was not really the case, because when I start working with my clients, the first 7 days and the first call, which is the kickoff call, which happens the first thing that we do together, and I do analysis. I do like in-depth analysis of everything that could be holding the person back. And when we had that call, we found out together what could be the issue. So I asked him a couple of questions and I found out how he was operating every single day. So we found out that his days were all over the place. He had a long to-do list, but he was never able to finish it. And he was not really hitting the daily, weekly, and monthly KPIs, which essentially meant that the goals were not achieved. And sometimes there were days when he was really having these highs and when he was achieving all of these things, making progress. But after a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, it all went back to zero. And he had to start back at the square one. So it was not really consistent. The change was not consistent. And it took a long time to see results and make progress. And then also for him, the day started by doing something over here, like maybe creating content. And then he was task switching and he was doing something completely else, and he lost the momentum that he needed to finish the first task. He didn't have any routine and nothing was really consistent. And at the end of the day, he felt like he had such a busy day, like he was working on so many things, he was working long hours, but he didn't really get anything done and didn't really make that progress that he wanted to make. And as a result of that, he was producing poor output, and that leads to poor results. When he was having some sales calls and when he managed to book some meetings, get some sales calls, or in general, he was operating from this scarcity mindset, which is something very important I'm going to touch on later in this video. So when we went through this, when we did this analysis, then it was very clear what the real issue is, because as you can see yourself, when I was reading all of these things and when you were reading them as well, you could see why the progress in the business wasn't really made and why the progress and why the business was not growing. And it was not because of a strategy or a tactic. It was because all of these things. And because of these things, he was not focused. He was not operating at a high level every single day. He was doing things, but those things weren't producing the results that he wanted. So the difference that made it all happen and the gap that was standing between where he was and where he wanted to be were actually these 5 areas. And we focused on those 5 areas heavily. And because we did that, and because I helped him create all of these things, so he didn't have to do anything on his end, he just applied what I gave him, and essentially optimizing all of those 5 areas, he was able to get these results right here. And those 5 areas is sleep, nutrition, body, mind, and work. So we focused on those 5 things. And for the sake of this video, I'm not going to dive deeper into each of these areas. If you're interested in how to actually optimize those areas, how to go about it, then I recorded a quick video that you can find in the description below this video, and you'll be redirected to this website right here. And I describe these areas that I've just mentioned in more detail and how you can actually see tangible results in your life and in your business by simply optimizing your performance and optimizing these areas. So if you're interested in checking that out, then click the link in the description below. But once I helped him optimize his performance, which was essentially optimizing those 5 areas, he was able to see incredible results. And everything that he was experiencing essentially flipped. He had more energy, he was more focused, he was consistent with everything that he was doing. He was producing high inputs, which results to better outputs. And those better outputs were more meetings and more sales calls, which resulted in more clients because he was operating from a different state. He was a different person every single day, and he was showing up like a different person, which led him to close more deals. And he didn't change anything about his business. He was following the same strategy as he was before. Another thing that was a biggest game changer for him is his mindset, his scarcity mindset, because a lot of entrepreneurs, whenever they're about to close a deal, they get very scarce. They're operating from this scarcity mindset instead of from abundance. And this is very important when you are in sales, because you don't want to go on a sales call and operate from scarcity mindset, because that will essentially turn the prospect down. You want to operate from abundance. You don't want to need anything and you don't want to lack anything. And this is something that we worked on a lot with essentially most of my clients, because this is the biggest one for online entrepreneurs, especially for coaches, agency owners, and consultants, is essentially coming from abundance, having that different state and different way they present themselves. Because once they change internally, it signals to the other person on the other end, and they are more inclined to buy. And because we worked a lot on his internal state and on his mindset, and I tried to help him become more abundant, and we did that through visualization and through identity shifting. And I have a lot of videos on that on my channel as well. So once we did that, then those sales just kept coming, because he was operating from a different person. He was a different person, like I said, because of this 2.0 identity that he was embodying. And the biggest takeaway from you, and like the action step that you can take, is to just really stop looking outside for the solution and start prioritizing everything outside of the business, like your sleep, like your nutrition, or your overall performance. And if you don't know where to start, you can just check out many videos that I have on this channel, because I go deeper into each of these areas. You can just watch it, apply it, and you will see incredible changes. Or if you're interested, you can book a free consultation. The link is down below, and we can go through this process together. And I will help you essentially identify every bottleneck that is out there and give you everything that you need to tackle those bottlenecks and essentially make progress in your life, which will make progress in your business. So yeah, just to summarize, these things right here didn't come from a new strategy or a new tactic. These results came from Christian's being a different person, a different operator. He was no longer that business owner who struggled with all of these things. After 7 days and week after week, as he was optimized, he was performing at his best because he was sleeping better, he was eating the right kinds of foods, he was doing everything that he can to optimize his body and mind, as well as work, for the highest efficiency, productivity, energy, and focus. And as a result, he was able to get more done without increasing his hours. So he was able to triple his output, triple his tasks without tripling his hours. So he was able to get more done in less time and achieve more. So if that's your goal as well, then again, like, you need to look outside of the business and you need to really look at what you can do as a person to become a better operator, and everything will flow from there. So if you have any questions about any of this, then let me know in the comments below. And if you have a specific content or specific area that you want me to cover from what I just talked about in this video, you can let me know as well, and I will record a more in-depth content about how to actually optimize yourself based on what I just said. And if you're struggling with a couple of things that my client was struggling, then I can go deeper into each of these areas, because it's really important and it can really change your life and your business if you take action and if you start optimizing your performance and who you are as a person. And again, if you're interested in checking out how you can actually do that on a practical level, then the link for this video is in the description below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.